I mean, look, you know me, I'm the eternal optimist, and I'm
Me
hoping.
too.
Also, another thing that we've done is we've been watching lots of movies, and we watched the Matrix series. I think I might have texted you this, but I felt like we were in the Matrix, but
Yeah.
that the world was currently experiencing some sort of software update because there was a glitch in the old program. I mean, I was convinced for ages that that's what was going on, and we're all just there waiting, like little sort of micro bits, just
Yeah.
waiting for the reboot so that we can kind of get kick-started again. Because I don't know, I mean, and also I consume way too much news and media. I mean, especially everything that's going on in America, and I have to sort of be careful.
We have to be careful with that Trump thing, don't we? Because the Trump thing is so easy to kind of like, I just almost, I kind of just ignore, there's nothing that shocks me about that guy. And I realized very quickly it was when Trump got into office, I don't know if you were a ranter about Trump or what did he say? It's just like,
no,
really?
I was a reader, but I let everyone.
Yeah.
I've let everyone else. I mean, I've learnt to be careful. I mean, you and I have had conversations about it, but the assumption that everyone feels the same as me is you know, a bit of a fuck up, because not everyone does feel the same way as me. No. So I always try and be careful about what I say and just listen to. But it's hard as well. Like, it's the fact that there's even an opinion on so many things. You know, it doesn't seem to be like one true fact. Even with the coronavirus, which should be based on science, there doesn't seem to be one agreed upon fact about this. I mean, you and I do.
Yeah, I totally.
Our rational brains.
We don't like that as human beings. We like facts. We like certainty. We don't like uncertainty. I think the good thing is, you know, what I always come back to is human beings, and as we've seen, we're incredibly adaptable. And you know, this kind of normal that has come about, it's almost unthinkable 3 months ago. If you'd said this, we'd all be, you know, buying even more loo paper. But
my boyfriend actually happened to buy, like, way before this happened, he meant to buy 5 rolls but accidentally bought 50 rolls. But it's like the most premium. He's like, I don't know how this came about, but it has like a smell of like Chanel No. 5 or something. So we've been like this.
It's so soft. That's it. I can tell you, it's probably not recycled, because recycled toilet paper is not soft.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely is.
He's obviously got he might have some kind of, you know, deep powers that he's aware of. What's he buying in at the moment by mistake? Anything?
Well, he bought well, this wasn't by mistake, but I bought, because I've started painting.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to buy a little projector to project what I've drawn up onto a bigger canvas. And I paid £40 for it on Amazon. And he was like, that's not a projector. This is a projector. And he bought online like the top of the range. I mean, I don't think he meant to do it, but it was just, you know, one of those sort of like late night. So now, like, this room at night is set up like a cinema with a projector. You've got to like sit like this in order to take in the full picture. But I mean, no, I suppose having, you know, that's kind of how we've got through, is we get excited about what little thing are we going to watch, you know, tonight, or I mean, I've been reading crap, you know, sort of crap that is just easy and enjoyable, you know, like a crime book or something, and going for lots of walks. I don't know, it's sort of funny, just the little things that I try and, what can I get excited about today, and finding some sort of sense of routine, and avoiding reading the news, other than what, you know, trying to play by the rules, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I can use this as I'm going to say one more thing, because I know that I've got to go and cook and do all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
I want to say thank you.
Yeah.
For being so brilliant and working on my record and being so like not only your production and engineering skills, but also your spirit. And you know, you were really in the fucking sonic trenches with me at like the darkest, you know, and it's funny because I think it takes you an album as an artist on your own. I mean, I remember as a band, like with Radiohead, we had no idea what we were doing the first album, Pablo Honey, and we sort of, you know, we were lucky because we had Creep, essentially. And it takes you an album to figure it out. And I feel like I really didn't I was so kind of in awe of you and Flood at the beginning stages. And it took me until about halfway through to the process, and I know Flood and you kept on saying, but I was kind of like, because I've been used to a consensus, or not a consensus, but I wasn't leading it musically. It took me a while, but thank you for like being great and just doing what you do. And
I mean, I felt like we kind of, well, we just got very deep.
Yeah.
So not only did I get to know you musically, but I got to know you as a human being. And you know, that I think those sort of moments are really precious. And now again, also that's quite rare when you're making an album, because things are always sort of go, go, go. So, you know,
likewise, but we had a lot of time.
I know we did have a lot of time.
I mean, you know, like I said, I probably had, you know, I can't, it's so funny. I've learned so much from that, and I so love the experience. But I now know, like, the next steps, kind of, okay, I know how kind of I'm going to do it. Well, not I know how to going to do it, but I know that it has to start with me, which I was kind of, you know me well enough. I'm not a me kind of person. I'm not kind of like, oh, look at me, I'm doing this. It's kind of like, it's something I had to start, I tell you what it is, I had to start taking myself a little bit more seriously.
Yeah.
And you know, it's easy not to when you've got you, Flood, Omar Hakim, David Akumu, Nathan East, you know.
I know. Well, I mean, I was sort of in awe of the situation, but it was, I mean, like you and I were discussing, I mean, it was like we sort of dropped like a little mini bomb and like just dealt with the chaos, you know.
Yeah.
But it was like beautiful chaos that was being created.
Can I ask you one last thing? What are your memories? Do you remember the day that we recorded Olympic on the Saturday?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Because that for me was the first moment in recording, and I remember looking around, and I remember it was take 4. It was on a Saturday, basically late morning. Flood had to get the train back to London.
Yeah.
And we had like, and I remember Flood was sitting in the live room with Omar, Nathan, David, and myself. And you and Cecil, every time we do a take, you come in before we do another take. And Omar had to sort of, because it's an 8-minute song, he'd sort of pull back. But I remember you and Cecil were like repositioning mics or tweaking it. And I remember like that thing, the take 4, like, I remember like, this is it. I mean, that for me was, if we got that track, then that for me was going to be the hardest track, but it was kind of like the mother track of the central part. Yeah. And I remember it was just like magic happened then. Like we finessed the parts, we finessed the endings. You guys got the sound right.
Yeah.
I mean, did it feel the same, or did it feel different? Are you just
that one and that one and Peru, which is now called Brazil, right?
Yeah.
That it was one of, and it's lovely like how the kind of essence of what happened in Wales still exists on record, because there was something about the room as well that was just humming. I mean, the kind of the way the mics were, you know, picking up the sounds was like, I mean, we did talk about that, how the room felt good at particular times of the day. I mean, that's how, I don't know whether that's a real or tangible thing, but we like actually believe that, you know, okay, well, we can't start recording until like the sun hits that part of the wall, because then it's warm enough to
I love that shit, because it is all part of it. It's all part of the magic and the mystery of it as well. It all does play a part. I definitely think so.
I mean, my probably strongest memory was when you sung Long Time Coming, and you're singing A Lonely City Girl Looks Out into the World, and I was like, oh my God, this song's about me.
I remember actually, and I got great strength from that, because I was struggling with my vocals and I didn't want to sound trite, but it came from, it comes from a heartfelt place, and it was about the lonely, it was that.
Well, but that's a sign of a good performance and a believable performance. When I mean, that's what I live for when I make records, to feel something. Whether it's like we're all jumping up and down and want to dance and party, or whether it brings tears to my eyes, and I find like a personal attachment or meaning to something. I mean, maybe it's arrogant, I don't know, but I was genuinely thought you were singing about me. After our one conversation.
That's what it's about. And I was, of course. I was taking notes. I was sitting next to you at supper and like, so how are you feeling, Catherine?
Yeah.
You're lonely.
Well, a little bit lonely in the city.
Okay.
I have one other thing.
Yeah.
I heard, we were in the car before, and like the first of Shangri-La. Sorry, that's not a very good interpretation. Yeah. Shangri-La comes on. I'm like, oh my God, it's Shangri-La, EOB. And then Radio 6 goes Shangri-La, EOB. And it was so enjoyable to listen to, because I don't know if you have this experience now where you forget everything that was involved in the process. Like the kind of the tough moments have dissipated now into just a series of like little flashes of enjoyment and colour and sunlight and greenery and beautiful faces. And I don't know if you have that.
Yeah, no, I totally, it's funny. It's a weird thing what happens for me, and it's happened a lot with Radiohead albums, is that you make the record and you're really happy, and for the first 4 months you're like this, you're great, and you're finishing off and mastering and everything. And in the last 3 months, I start to hear the flaws. So when Shangri-La comes on and Six Music, I turn it off. And
really?
I can't listen to it. It's weird. Okay. And it's not because and there was a time when Alan, that was the first song that Alan mixed. And I immediately, I played it in the car like 12 times. I was taking Sal to football, and I could listen to it twice. And I sent it up to Johnny Marr, my great sort of main pal, and I said, Johnny, I think you might. What do you think of this? And so but I think I've just heard it so many times.
Yeah, I get.
Do you know what? When I see visually for Brazil, the end part Brazil and Olympic, and I don't know what the next music is going to be like, but I think I want it to be more like the end section of Brazil. All right. Well, listen, so lovely to speak with you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you, Catherine.
So
Big
much
love
to you.
Big love. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.